Hi, good day everyone. I am Franilyn Kagiwa, a student of EVSU Graduate School taking up Masters in Public Resource Management. In this video, we will discuss the concepts and principles of technology impact assessment, and we will also tackle a sample case study regarding this topic. So first, let's define technology. What comes to your mind when you hear the word technology? Maybe you'll think about gadgets, cell phones, computers, or even television or GPS. So, technology is the application of scientific knowledge for practical purposes or practical aims of human life. Machinery and equipment developed from the application of scientific knowledge, the branch of knowledge dealing with engineering or applied sciences. Different forms of technology are the result of people trying to find more efficient ways to do things and testing new ideas. Technology has undoubtedly made our lives easier and comfortable. So, how about impact assessment? Impact assessment is a formal evidence based procedure that assesses the economic, social, and environmental effects of public policy. It is a process link in the chain between evidence and decision making. Its goal is to bring about a more ecologically, socioculturally, and economically sustainable and equitable environment. So, impact assessment is a means of measuring the effectiveness of organizational activities or project and judging the significance of changes brought about by those activities. Therefore, technology impact assessment refers to the early identification and assessment of eventual impacts of technological change and applications as a service to policymaking and decision making more generally. It is an analytic and democratic practice that aims to contribute to the timely formation of public and political opinion on societal aspects of science and technology. So, technology impact assessment is a form of policy research that examines short and long-term consequences of the application of technology. These consequences include societal, economical, ethical, or legal. So in layman's term, technology impact assessment looks into the positive and negative potential and actual effects of a certain technological advancement. So here are some examples of science and technology fields that requires impact assessment. First, we have information technology. So this talks about software development for our computers and cell phones. Second, we have materials and energy. So this talks about all types of inventions and new types of energy sources. The third, we have biomedical technology. New drugs, new therapeutic, new diagnostic materials. And the fourth one is the AI and robotics. This talks about artificial intelligence. So this decreases human efforts, made our lives more easier and comfortable. The fifth, we have urban and rural planning. So construction of new buildings. So this includes in the fifth. For our sixth, we have climate and environment. So sustainable development projects and environmental planning. There are three processes or types of technology impact assessment. First, we have stakeholders analysis. Second, environmental impact assessment. And the last is the social impact assessment. So we'll discuss each one of them. Let's start with the stakeholders analysis. It refers to the range of techniques or tools to identify and understand the needs and expectations of major interests inside and outside the project environment. It is the process of identifying, assessing, and prioritizing the people who will be affected by your business or project. Stakeholders are those directly or indirectly be affected by a certain project or technological advancement. There are four types of stakeholders. First, we have primary stakeholders, or those ultimately most affected either positively or negatively. Then we have secondary stakeholders, or the intermediaries, those who are indirectly affected. And then we have tertiary stakeholders, or those who will be impacted the least. And the last, we have key stakeholders or those with significant influence upon or importance. So, for example, in a construction project, so the primary stakeholders is the community or the people. So they may be displaced due to the new building, or some may potentially gain employment due to the construction of the new building. The secondary stakeholders is the governance or the LGU of a certain place where the building will be erected. Then the tertiary stakeholders are the providers or the suppliers or contractors, those who provides resources to the project, or they may be also the potential customers. So the last, the key stakeholders are the influencers, like the trade unions or lobby groups, having the capability to impact the project. So they may protect or improve the outcome of the project. What are the procedures in doing stakeholders analysis? First, we have to identify the stakeholders and their interests, may be positive or negative. So common key questions are they going to benefit from the project? What are the benefits or the potential negative impact they can get from the project? Then, we have to assess the influence and importance of each stakeholder, as well as the potential impact of the project upon each stakeholder. So, common key questions are: who is directly responsible for decisions on issues important to the project? And what are the possible conflicts that can occur? Lastly, we have to identify how best to engage stakeholders. Different types of stakeholders will be engaged in different ways in the various stages of the project, and this answers the question how the conflicts will be resolved. Let's now move on to the second process or form of technology impact assessment, which is the Environmental Impact Assessment or EIA. EIA is a tool used to assess the significant effects of a project or development proposal on the environment. It is a process of evaluating the likely environmental impacts of a proposed project or development, taking into account interrelated socio-economic, cultural, and human health impacts, both beneficial and adverse. So usually, this is done before a project. For example, you want to construct a building in a forested area. So companies usually hires environmental specialists to identify the potential good or bad effects of the project to the environment and to the people nearby. So we will not dwell much on this topic as we have a separate discussion about EIA. Next, we have the third type of technology impact assessment, the social impact assessment or SIA. SIA includes the processes of analyzing, monitoring, and managing the intended and unintended social consequences, both positive and negative, of planned interventions, policies, programs, plans, projects, and any social change processes invoked by those interventions. Its primary purpose is to bring about a more sustainable and equitable biophysical and human environment. So SIA is the methodology to review the social effects of a certain technological advancement or development interventions. Moving on, we'll discuss the steps in social impact assessment. First, we have baseline profiling. So this identifies the relevant populations and the assimilations of as much information as possible concerning the group, like the demographic factors, um, human housing and human settlement, level of employment and income, and the likes. And second, we have projection. So this involves the selection of a broad range of alternative courses of action and elaborating their consequences for the present profile situation. The third, we have assessment of impact. So this invokes summarization and comparison of various projections. Characteristics to be assessed includes the affected groups and timing and magnitude of effects and how they are affected. And the last step is the evaluation. So this involves selection from among the alternatives provided. Now, we'll discuss the parts of social impact assessment. First, we have cost-benefit analysis. This discusses the financial and economic benefits and costs. So, how much money will be gained or lost by the community? Will this increase employment or livelihood? Yeah. Second, we have gender analysis. This discusses the impact or effects to vulnerable groups such as women, children, elderly, or indigenous peoples. So, will it increase women empowerment? What are the effects of the project to the vulnerable groups? Third, we have class analysis. Income classes, means of production, labor, narrowing wealth gap, social classification, like the political elites versus non-elites. Example is the prioritization of those elites. Who gets more benefits? Example, the VIP testings during this COVID-19 pandemic. The fourth one is the cultural analysis. So effects of new technology on local norms, beliefs, and values. For example, the nomads in ancestral lands or the indigenous peoples in a particular area. So we'll have to adapt to their beliefs and norms. Let's now come to the sample case study about technology impact assessment. What I have picked is the case study on adoption of new technology for innovation, perspective of institutional and corporate entrepreneurship by Jung Hee Han of Graduate School of Smart City Science Management, Hongik University, Sejong, South Korea, and Changmin Park, Graduate School of Business, Chonnam National University, Gwangju, South Korea. So the case study aims at investigating the role of institutional and corporate entrepreneurship to cope with firms' impasses by adoption of the new technology ahead of other firms. Kumho Tire or K-Tire is a Korean company and is the first tire manufacturer in the world to exploit the utilization of radio frequency identification or RFID for passenger cars tire in 2013. Kumho Tire takes great satisfaction in lots of failures to develop the cutting-edge technology using advances information and communication technology cultivated by heterogeneous institution and corporate entrepreneurship. So in the global tire market, K-Tire belongs to the second tier rather than the leader group consisting of manufacturers with large market shares like the Hankook Tire in Korea, Bridgestone's, Michelin, and Goodyear. RFID is radio frequency identification technology to recognize stored information by using a magnetic carrier wave. The RFID tag includes either fixed or programmable logic for processing the transmission and sensor data respectively. The adoption of the technology distinguishes K-Tire from other competitors which usually rely on barcodes. K-Tire's decision to apply RFID to passenger vehicle tires for the first time in the global tire industry, despite the uncertainties associated with the adoption of innovative technologies, is being lauded as a successful case of innovation. So, K-Tire is a latecomer in the vehicle tire industry. It needs the distinguishable innovative strategy to level up their game. Despite the unsuccessful attempts, loss on opportunity costs, they still pushed on developing the technology until they achieved their goal and launched the first in the world RFID system to passenger vehicle tires. That's all about my topic, Technology Impact Assessment. Thank you for watching, and let's all stay safe. Bye-bye!